Hello, America. Just wanted to just real important, real quick video. Judge Napolitano asked a question. He asked, "Should the CIA be disbanded?" Anthony, you're on CIA. How do you know? Because on Facebook, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed also other ways. For example, in my fourth grade class, there was a South Seville. I never had a conversation with him, and there was a Morin, I believe it was Julie Morin, and I only had good feelings for everyone growing up. All exceptions, exception nature too. It was in demonstration of people from off my campuses and off everyone's campuses. So these are people involved with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso and of overt criminal enterprises from other countries and private ones, originally and still, and with mayors. Now, someone who lives across the street from a South Sevilla, who was one of the people that was in my fourth grade class. Also, Mr. Pruzzi, and before this, and years before this, there are people that are spying on the kids. There's a Leahy family that attached me to fake conversations with them as a doctors, as a kid, and other people tied to them, and there are other people tied to them, and as an adult, ones with the same name, Brendan Leahy, that work as doctors with mental health forced evaluations of people. And now they have foreign and domestic medical families and their extended families that work there with them. And they have collusions with them at other locations. And there are judges and their family members also criminally involved with them. And with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso. And with wire crime acts and methods with names next to the Weathersfield State Judicial Branch offices involved. These are people that also live. And so people with the name Fienza confirmed on Facebook after the World Trade Center attack. They are one of the ones who made straight confessions to me, all these confessions at once, and regarding their roles with the Dillon family and mayors and their families and the difference of that, and people on off the state judicial branch offices. Weathersfield Pizza near there also has roles with wire crimes with them, whole wire crime methods, and with the Weathersfield police, switching names. All kind of connected falsified police reports through time. Former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, he's also increasingly involved with people at that location, planting evidences with the ones on Two-Route Highway there, where South Seriolo, he probably still lives there. There are proofs that he still lives there. And they have their Facebook pages involved. They have New Britain Superior Court's Facebook page involved with a whole bunch of different natures of federal evidences crimes and child abuses and other natures of organized crime with people on off Two-Route Highway where it runs into Hangdog Lane and conjunctions to it. More than three, or at least three probate court judges have roles with families on that street who have roles with identity theft, fraud, slanders, with the ones on my street involved with wire crimes and tied to them, involved with wire crimes with the Weathersfield police. They're also lying about the motivations, and with Hartford police families and Rocky Hill police families involved with the name O'Brien, etc. A whole bunch of people with the name Casper that Hartford Hospital brought into this, attaching me to fake conversations with themselves. And then all exceptions, exception nature, like with the guy who brought up the name Casper. In other words, I don't know if what he put in the book with our truth then make it sound like we had a conversation. He's involved with criminally foreign influence uses of my signature that I was forced to sign, and criminally foreign influence roles with their roles with fabricating my signature and fake letters, fake emails, fake. I caught them with a principal child offender too. These are further roles that were forced. That they have some of the family members who are intelligence families. There are ones with the name O'Neill involved with whiting forensics through time, and a whole bunch of people from Hartford Hospital involved with some untimely deaths at Trinity College and Central Connecticut State University people involved, also with murders and shootings at the time. and their roles with the spots next to Fox Connecticut News through different ownerships and the other clubs there and the people that work in the difference of that. They have police named Mendez, and there were also neighbors of the South Sevilla and this and the Fianza. They said their name is Fianza, and that they also have a house near the state judicial branch offices. Increasingly, people next to the state judicial branch offices had roles with wire crimes, mail crimes, natures of identity theft, fraud, slanders. As people connected that pretended to know me completely, and ones I don't know at all, but in context they lied about, and have roles with all kinds of falsified police reports. They have roles with rape threats with the New Britain Superior Court's Facebook page. Then I noted that, and they started making all kinds of new Facebook pages. Has something to do with their roles with West Hartford locations, like near the and there's a there's a Mark Violet, a Mike Violet, and their neighbors. One of them called Joshua Julian, involved with people from Hartford Hospital with foreign and domestic medical offenders, and some KKK black themed sexual offenders of the kids and medical offenders at the same time, as ones involved with various natures of courts families, personally and professionally involved, switching and forging names. And so they also have families that made confessions about the CIA involved. These are also co-defendants of former director of the FBI Robert Luskin and his lawyer in spots next to his location. Have roles with all kinds of criminally foreign influence uses of locations and natures of pilfering of medical money and at the locations next to Fox Connecticut News, with ones named Demain and Mendez involved also with the names on off 2 Route Highway, where it runs into Hag Dog Lane and the conjunctions to it and to that. But these are people also involved with the mayors, with drugs and medicines crimes and tactically delusions wrought since founding. And so when they bring up, oh, is the FBI corrupt or is the CIA corrupt? Nature shows us they backed identities of the law into the defenses of and the defenses of that as rules with predicate acts with facts methods, as roles with that, as criminal insidious as natures of positive and negative treatments, identity treatments, therefore names treatments, black pupils. We know that sciences have been fake. We know that. So everyone misses where people are using words like terrorism. People are using words like radical and extremism as collusions with people who had roles with the before our founders were born, with the state corrections offices is still involved with, and the names next to them through time before the World Trade Center attack in that context and sense facilitated motivations for them by others. So you guys are not following mandated law. That's an identity of relativity to this. You're forging names and switching names roles when you make opinions. When I say that, you're preventing short words. Then you start fights and you start using words like delusions. You're tactically delusions raw to people typing that on here. You have further then and now roles with Facebook page of the principal child offenders campus with a Joshua Julian, further with medical offenders with the kids, as the ones on my street involved. And you're planting evidence on all sides of my house. You have a Officer Jerry Miller. He confessed people roles with with people with the name Jerry Kerr, and there's people with the name Perone. They have roles with a religious spot next to Fox Connecticut News. They've been involved with planting evidences, identity theft, fraud, slanders, trying to make exceptions where it look like I know them by having others film it, and they spread lies and rumors. They lie about themselves and others. These are people involved with various natures of investigators and journalists that are criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions raw. It's not personal. In other words, WFSB attached me to fake words with themselves, fake locations with themselves, and they attached others to change words, and they lied about the outcome of legal cases and the value of that as collusions with various natures of crime scenes while they were forcing the principal child offender. It was also with that as World Trade Center attack predicate acts. They attached me to fake conversations with them themselves and with others about the World Trade Center. Now, these are ones, their sources into branch, New Britain Superior Court, Hartford Courts, and their family members, and the Britain and the Connecticut's District Court and their family members. They have rules of predicate acts with the phones, methods, wire crimes with them too, with the phones, not just with the stories. And that's as their roles on off crime scenes. So it's not just them pretending they want because their boss wants them to do things, or because they want to look good for advertisers. They even have the difference between advertisers and service placements on Bravo Network on the Bravo Network. Further involved with World Trade Center predicate acts, methods, and wire crime methods, and child offenders, interstates, including with sexual and medical at the same time, overt criminal enterprises. One's associated with a police chief Cintron, and one years ago, as one involved with them with the name Cololo, and the Weathersfield Police confession, switching and forging names. All these falsified police reports. They've been doing this intercities with people making confessions at people's houses next to them from other areas because then they're lying about time and they're lying. They've been using the right to lie in readings of statutes that are criminally foreign influenced, tactically delusions raw, and they're not going to be saving money because, in other words, Dean Judd involved with identity theft, fraud, slander, sequence shifts, and fake motivations planting with foreign nations leading up to the World Trade Center attack in that context and since. A whole bunch of people tied to the intelligence involved with the uses of the difference between Republican thought and syntax and Democratic thought and syntax and the exceptions. So we have no voices that spoke for the nature of the law correctly. I'm not even a lawyer. We can delineate their delusions from their criminally foreign influence, fact, true nature, quality, aspects, and natures. Black people. We have to have mandated law followed. They leak relative to this. They forge and switch names. So on all sides of my house since I was a kid, more and more they plant evidences, and they have people speak about their life. They can go on leaving out how they get because they're missing the game that's played relative to the child abuses and the fake conversations and the tricks they do to make it look like other was. A Debbie Gold made it look like we had conversations by as roles with corners of buildings and we're in other words we're walking in a line. We had no communications with her. I didn't even think she was in my class at the time. I don't know. And then she starts yelling and calling me names, swearing at me and whatever, you know. And I never saw her around. Like I told, there was one, except I remember years before that, or a year or two before that. And then the teacher gave me a paper to sign, to have signed. I never did. No, but I used a stamp to forge the name because it was ongoing already. I could prove. In other words, there's a Ray Reynolds also involved with foreign and domestic medical family that attached me and him to fake ties to each other, fake natures of ties to each other, and with his neighbors involved with medical offenders of kids, identity thefts and fraud slanders, people with a Joe DeMoro who slept next to him on the floor in Vermont. They did some kind of scam up there. But also with Eric Jensen and a Mike Roberts involved with people at shopping centers and the malls involved. Also, people with the name Puzo I never met. In other words, reportedly involved with the people on Park Street too. There's a Daryl Sullivan further involved with the FBI and his lawyers, with and his co-defendants and their family members, with my sixth grade class too, and people with placements at the schools involved with foreign and domestic medical corruption, identity theft, fraud, slanders, and little tricks where they have conversations telling on people behind their back, having them called to the office, and making it look like people were next to each other when they weren't. This is the real reason they're bringing up crimes that are committed off campuses because they're hiding what came first. There are people I had nothing to do with in grammar school and middle school never even saw them around, and they're having other pretended into databases. This is relative to where and to how you guys can't speak honest about the past and how you get away with it. Those people jumped in and demonstrated that on Facebook too. You have criminally foreign influence readings of statutes. You left out how you're using the Facebook exclusions with the in the cases and with rape threats. You guys are involved with extortion, identity theft, fraud, slanders, and slavery. We're gonna demonstrate too how you guys are communicating other for our founders and collusions with the difference of that of who's guilty for that. Then they communicate to have communicated for themselves. How you've been getting away with it is relative to what I caught you doing with your thoughts and your delusions, with the doctors attaching people to fake conversations with themselves about religions too. No, so a whole bunch of people with a Rick C.M. Fagon have roles with judges and prosecutors and foreign and domestic military. Ones all along Route 175 have been planting evidences, drugs and medicines, crimes with little kids, sexual, medical, the military, criminally foreign influence, people with German people from Italy against their own too. These are people that are traitors against Mussolini in Italy and the church, sickly distinctly because they're playing the shell game. See, names A through Z never had possessions of themselves. That's one of the things our founders left us to communicate. So did the other founders. See, but already they had to be entertained. Groupings of humanity and defenses of that syntactically tactical ulterior from how nature assigned groupings to be valued by human syntax, human volume science as the species volume, species body of individual bodies as individual distinct, non-distinct, and simultaneous volume science slash S inside the hypervolume science, making more of itself through and as all things, even if they're made up. It is inseparable identity of conjunction slash hyperconjunction to the smallest finite part of what's made up, even, and to the group parts, and to the simultaneous. It is the same demonstration of the same as the same system, method, way, slash S, only increasingly as value. We could ignore it and be systems individually grouped and together, even if we all agree. We are still tactical ulterior from its own. It's going to show us with negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. Natures like criminal insidiousness natures. Of syntax natures, of people, speaking with uses of words like facts, data, and evidence, and the differences of that simultaneously as tools where measured and maintained is the nature of debate, can't defend itself and afford short words with convictions properly by the Constitution unabridged and innumerable rights. Um, Beyond the language of what amendment says what. Marbury versus Madison, the Constitution unabridged, has not been voiced. Other has been spoken for the extortion of George Washington. Then he asked to communicate for. Then our founders left us to demonstrate to communicate for themselves. They didn't have free speech; they were being measured and maintained, just like everyone else, and everyone had to pretend other, or they were sensed. Had psychopath takes on positives and on negatives and collusions to hide the identity of the breaching method's conjunction to all things too, not just the identity of the hypersimultaneous, like pupils. Discern how we have the same color eyes and different color eyes at the same time. Prepare your mind, vaccines. So there are people on Facebook you can't lie about it, and to see the in other ways it's recorded anyway. All the agencies are criminally foreign influence, tactically delusions, raw. But there are ones tied with the CIA and with the state police and with People International and like with Venezuela tied to Eric Jensen. He's involved with the FBI director Robert Luskin and various natures of courts, judges, and prosecutors and their family members, with and as his neighbors, ones with the names Spada and Delafera, had intimate relationships where they're involved with identity thefts and frauds against me with probate judges who are involved with mental health experts, who are involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders, putting fake transcripts in databases. They should fear God because there's more violence and guns and bug spray and smoke and other natures of things involved with the names on all sides of my house and from other areas involved and the neighbors of the people involved. Then they mix everyone's extended family members because that's what the agencies do. The ones who are timed roles also with foreign and domestic military. Kuwaiti general and his extended family member associated with Colleen Keys, Dean Keys from Tunxus Community College, also involved with Vanessa, I don't know her name, Vanessa and others in her family with the intelligence community, which is not just the three branches of government, it's others tied to them. Like Sandy Hook campuses has intelligence that have roles with interstates and intercities and internationally with all kinds of drugs and medicines, crimes and delusions with mental health experts, for example. Now these are people tied to courts. These are people tied to prisons who had crimes with their patients and criminals before they got caught. And specifically to force that and to measure and maintain who was going to say what. And they just put fake things anyway. Has something to do with their roles with the locations at and next to where on along the South Dean Highway, like where an Omni place used to be, per the Sandy Hook people involved criminally with child offenders and with people on off body dumping spots. A serial killer, or reportedly convicted serial killer, involved with a prison at Sandy Hook, hasn't had roles with that spot with the people involved with these names here with the Wethersfield Police and with the Kalal involved with the Rick C.I.A. Faglione. I never had a class in grammar school with a Rick C.I.A. Faglione and or with a Ray Kalal and or with a Timothy O'Brien. They have roles of people putting fake things in databases. And I never had classes with them in middle school. They put a Heather Hansen, a Joe DeMar, and a Ray Claw in my middle school class as their roles with people with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso and with um Sammy the Bull things and the FBI roles with that body dumping spot and witness protection program and other criminal enterprises at the same time with a John DeMar, Joe DeMar. They weren't in my classes. I never saw him, John DeMar, on campus in my life. He has something to do with people from Central Connecticut State University, my second or my third grade class, actually. Or it was someone from another class where we walked by and they made that exception to make things hard to explain or to what because they pretend not to understand people where they use the right to lie where they don't have the right to lie. And they're fishing. In other words, they know that presidents have to hide all the way they speak about criminal justice with people from other countries who are involved with their extended family members, all the ones in the news, all their peaceful relationships. Russians and Americans have drugs and medicines crimes, and they hide life progressions with their roles with campuses, fire to campuses, and medical campuses together against their own and our own against our own. Whole bunch of different countries, though. Whole bunch of people tied to Hartford Hospital have roles with a Joshua Julian, with the Facebook page of a principal child offender, and with doctors and their patients that live next to the schools who collude there too, and with the news, Fox Connecticut News, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed roles with the people who answer the phones, hiding with Mendez police, FBI, people with the name Domain are involved with them. They said it was Allison Mulcahy. I never had a conversation with her in my life. Never was around her or her sister and family. I don't know them. Her and her neighbors. further involve the ones with the Mayor Gold and a Debbie Gold. And there's a Chuck Casper. I don't know his father's name. I don't know his sister's name. I never had anything to do with them. They're involved with people all along Route 175 trying to plant evidences, fake exceptions, and fake motivations, lying about how and why I was actually when I was around people that are involved. In other words, has something to do all along Route 175 and conjunctions to it, all along Route 3 and conjunctions to it, like the state judicial branch offices. Two English class teachers I had have roles of people involved with predicate acts in the streets near me, and conversations with their family members about me as leaders of the kids involved. And in other words, everyone wants to keep things. Everyone speaks through others, and they're planting fake things. Then they want to keep speaking. I didn't get a response yet for the principal child defender's confessions, and or the interbranch switching names, forging names. They also have KKK Confederate flag themed roles here, and they have interbranch. They have black, white women judges involved with the Confederate flag theme, KKK theme. People on off the Wethersfield Police Department attaching little kids to fake conversations with themselves and planting evidences with roles. Now have roles with police forms associated with Hartford and Wethersfield, with Old Town Cafe, who are involved with wire crimes on my street. They have recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed it's their roles with predicate acts with names on Trinity College and Central Connecticut State University, with the courts and the FBI in the foreign countries planting evidences there, fake motivation, fake ties to people, fake natures of ties to people. Their roles with the fire campuses again. And the difference is even child campuses. Central Connecticut State University has been involved with predicate acts and various natures of organized crime with kids at my grammar school since I was a kid. So there's a Justin Klavinskis, and who he's married to went to my grammar school, wasn't in my class though. But know how we're in, they call us the same class. They're keeping the quality of fact, treatment, nature, criminal insidiousness, positives and negatives as collusions to hide the identity of the breaching method. The breaching method is a scientific value. It is an identity of relationship to all things. Vaccines. The suburbs were designed tactically to nature before our founders were born. Before modern religions, messengers were even born. The scientists had already become criminally foreign influenced, tactically delusions wrought, forced, tricked, hurt, and persuaded to self value the identity of the republic for which we stand no longer. What has been no longer what could be stood for properly. No longer the value of the Constitution unabridged. Excuse me. Instead, through our own, that is measured and maintained. The nature debate regarding the language of the statutes, you guys left out the value of what is hyper additional and how reason works and how mandated law works and what exceptions are about. In other words, so every identity has relativity to positive and negative simultaneously. To hide the identity of relativity to the negative, the breaching method, and how it maintains, for example, the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. Blame the other things, others ourselves, where they are in demonstration of itself. Because nature is demonstrating to us the increasing with negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. The scientific value of a breaching method has other being blamed for negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures, for example, where the breaching method is that which is supposed to be blamed. And that which was conjunctive to the sense and sensibilities of our founders, to use Jane Austen's phrase, purportedly a phrase of Jane Austen's, sense and sensibilities, but as a human phrase. The laws were designed to measure and maintain a collusion with what our system's tactile terror from nature's, the Constitution's unabridged, therefore its voicings, therefore as voicings, as criminal insidiousness natures, slash hypercriminal insidiousness natures, as mass wrongdoers, mass wrongdoing, mass predicate acts with facts natures, methods, and styles of logic, needing to get away with that. Used remotely, showing how to. Call them anti Semitic, call them terrorists, call them, you know, make fun of their God, in other words. Meanwhile, the people who know most about the Quran and the Old Testament and the people who counter them the hardest are collusions preventing what's said right up front. Only defend right to hear. You guys are using the most knowledge of good and evil about the back parts of the book to get over on what's true always, constantly. You guys, in other words, you guys are pretending things are debatable that aren't, and you're getting away with it because of the fake transcripts. So it's not one agency alone. It's we have to address this. We have to address their descriptions of reason of their own and of their descriptions of the reason of others. A whole bunch of people with the intelligence part of Hartford Hospital are criminally foreign influence with and have been planting evidences from other parts of town on my street through time. They try to make it look like their volume is tied to other people. These are people that have names next to the campuses, including with the corners of the streets. WTNH and WFSB also has on off the campuses roles with predicate acts with child offenders, including medical, sexual, and further legal. Interbranch has been switching and forging names, and black KKK themed. And these are not legitimate people with the military switching names too. Don't be cowards. And this Chet Casper, if that's real, I want to get this guy's name. So what you're doing? And there's Chet Casper also time the timing of it. He was looking over like he doesn't understand uh, how I got out of the building because they tried to lock me in a hallway. People associated with him. At the one where there was a recent reports of someone shot outside next to Fox Connecticut News. There was also someone that fell off there reportedly or was thrown off there, etc. Now these are also people with a Brian Silver and the Leahy family and others at Hartford Hospital. A Daco Dingleberry or Dewberry, who also have roles with the Agnew family with drugs and medicines crimes there, and with people with the name who are KKK themed with the military, like with the name Fred Grisey, also involved with neighbors of a Rick Sam Faglione, like this Sal Saviello, and the ones with the name Fianza involved with with their family, with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso, per them confirmed on Facebook. Now these are the same ones with the state judicial branch offices as the ones on Two Rod Highway, involved with various natures of courts, and those ones on off Fox Connecticut News, and Enzo Fienzo said this is he has roles with the leaders of one of those businesses that owned the Russian lady. They changed the owners. It's intelligence, foreign and domestic, and their fake difference. They have roles with all along Route 3 and conjunctions to it, like Elm Street, with a whole bunch of people from Hartford Hospital through time, and people with the name Oliveri, Violet, Cololo, Kerr. These are the ones involved, even on Facebook with Officer Jerry Miller and people from Trinity College who got involved with an untimely death. A girl who knows a woman who knows my name when she was a girl. She was being used to plant fake things and then sequence shifts with a Joshua Stryker too at Trinity College, involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders against me, lying about me to himself, to other people through time, and lying about himself to other people through time. He's getting away with it because of his roles with people on off the state judicial branch offices and spots next to it also involved. And these are ones with the World Trade Center attack, long term plotting leading up to it, and short term through other. And then, like right in the Ninth Circuit Court, right next to it, they forced, tricked, hurt, and persuaded names on all sides of that case formally, and people who were just observing, they attached everyone to fake words about the World Trade Center attack. That was in the court right next to it. Proven after that attack too, right before the attack, from inside the court, insidiously, the intelligence community had post dated the papers. People associated with it corruptly had post dated the papers to be to appear to to the judges to have been filed late to the Ninth Circuit panel of judges in the Ninth Circuit Court right next to the World Trade Center towers, right before they were hit in the attack. And then we came back to Connecticut and found out about it. And I was at the time enrolled in a master's class for English arts, and people in the English department were also the ones involved with that and with the predicate acts with my schools, like my fifth grade teacher, Mr. Abruzzi, with the people when I was in fourth grade, then when I was in third grade, contributing more and more to roles with foreign bodies, overt criminal enterprises, private ones, and people acting so others could take pictures, who are also roles with just totally fabricating transcripts. There are dozens of falsified police reports because they make mistakes on the same ones too, just tied to me. In other words, all fake, and they're switching and forging names. Weatherfield Police said they only have one officer named McGee, and that's a threat because they have more than one McGee on three arrests that are involved with them planting evidences. They have their family members on off the campuses with predicate acts. There's only three branches of government, except nature tied to them too. That's what we're going to use the name intelligence, but that's what we're observing it for. We're observing it beyond what they've called intelligence because they failed to use intelligence properly. Black pupils see the whites of eyes. So in other words, they speak about money. They can't, and they want to debate money. They can't with and law, leaving out the nature of the law first, leaving out the identity of the money first. So you guys put physics before metaphysics, even where that's right, you don't discern properly the identity of that physical thing, even if it's made up. So you have the arts and collusion too. You have people pretending, in other words, oh well, the experts know about that. When's this expert going to stand up? The Constitution's unabridged. New York City is not free. Let the suit and tie stand up and say that New York City is free. I'll show you how what their logic holds. Vaccines. I teach us things. Follow mandate law for Weatherfield police. People. Follow for the FBI. They can't be trusted. You can't talk to them because they already faked conversations with me since I was a kid. So they should fear God now to hide or lie. And if I was trying to hurt them, in other words, we're gonna make sure you guys are gonna be charged with bail crimes, wire crimes, extortion, predicate acts. If you play games, I don't get the name on paper fast. You're gonna have to give me a name on paper because you have violence threats. And you have people speaking other. So that you have the leaders of the kids afraid to report things. Then you have people that have kids, so they need income. You sick people, you're playing this game, and you're going to pretend that New York City's not torture. The suburbs are. Watch where you hid from the parents. You owe money now. You owe money now. Don't make it worse. Get them on paper. Whiting Forensics has the name Christine involved with them, with judges and prosecutors trying to fish for how they're going to cover up things. And they have a whole bunch of different people with that name, Christine, all along Route 3, off the state judicial branch offices, increasingly with Whiting Forensics involved with the witness protection program and the relative body dumping spots and other natures of organized crime groups. And these people with the Joey Quest and the Nick Sweet, I don't know them. And those exceptions were them planting evidences with Police Chief Cintron and one years ago, involved with sequence chefs in the FBI and four other agencies and their co-defendants. Co-defendants, a former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin. Thaddeus Grabowski is involved next to Fox News, for example. They have something to do with all along New Britain Avenue spots involved with Eric Burgess, who's one of the ones involved with the Amy or Emily, switch her name, with the Hartford courts, who were influenced to plant evidences in West Hartford before the World Trade Center attack, and then after it, with an officer. They said his name is Hunter. They said doesn't they were switching names, forging names, roles with other courts. These are the people involved with the Ninth Circuit Court in Manhattan right before the World Trade Center attack. So you have WFSB increasingly too in Rocky Hill with their intelligence attached me with a fake conversation about the World Trade Center. Intercities, they have been hiding lies by making a whole bunch of tied subjects and names and uses of it and treatments of time where they're lying about people. So fear God, get on paper with them. They have that corners. They have Ray Cololo, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirms one of the ones in wire crimes in Weathersfield Police. Has something to do where he and people with Mike Pandolf have roles with gas stations along Route 3. There's one at the corner of has something to do with the roles with a whole bunch of different countries in our own standards, and a whole bunch of falsified federal evidences crimes, rules crimes, and natures, and fake motivations planting, follow mandated law. 'Cause these are the ones involved with Billy Grasso, body dumping spot, and different narratives in the news. But the confessions also again confirmed on Facebook. They took that away. They're lying about their evidences treatment, their uses, the value of their uses of the right to lie. James Comey is also one of the ones on and off Farmington Avenue and conjunctive to it in Hartford, and like where the Harriet Beecher Stowe Mark Twain house is. A whole bunch of people at Central Connecticut State University and Trinity College and little kids campuses next to there, and a fire campus involved with people with the mayors and people with conversations with the Aiello family and people he confessed, recorded, demonstrated, confirmed, like with the name um Christopher Cullen. He's one of the ones also with the various organized crime groups and mayors planting evidences, child offenders, sexual and medical, identity theft, fraud, slanders, lying about himself and others since he was a kid. I never had a class with him in my life. Joe Aiello. He lives next to they have businesses next to the Buckley Hill High School in Hartford, which is not far from Hartford Hospital's campus too. Other child campuses there. These are also the intercultural and intracultural identity theft, fraud, slander methods, rules with a whole bunch of other countries on off Central Connecticut State University, spots next to it, on off Trinity College, spots next to it. Ones who since they were kids, little fakes in the back with their intelligence as their teachers, has something to do with the roles intercities too, all along Route 3. So get them on paper with the Weathersfield Police. Let's go. And the Weathersfield Pizza too, and the judges involved. Let's get them in one name in sequence. Have Judge Judge Napolitano informed. Please follow mandated law for them. If they want money to help, because do it completely improper, I'll donate the a business to afford it, and then we'll just keep going charity. But it won't even be a different kind of charity. Be all to fix things, and we won't agree until we're going to move together. What that means is a species body too. Oh, follow mandated law, people. Be cowards each, so one must teach.